Happy May 22nd. Welcome back to the show where it's not about last week's trailer. It's not about next week's blog. It's about next week's episode. And in this case, it's about The Last of Us, Season 2, Episode 6, which snuck up on my co-host, Mr. Jake Micah, and I as the penultimate episode of this season of The Last of Us, returning to HBO Max, obviously, after a year off. We had Ellie and Joel for part-time back on our screens, but welcome back to our screen, Mr. Micah.
Thank you. Yeah, I even had the thought watching Sunday night. I actually watched this pretty live, which is a benefit here. But watching it, I was like, oh yeah, next week's the penultimate, so something crazy's about to happen. And then we both found out today that no, that was in fact the crazy episode happening, and it was pretty crazy, I will say. So it makes
all in
sense.
all, that was a banger for sure. And
Absolutely.
I guess when you look at the inventory, because we'll get right into it, because there's a dilemma for the Last of Us showrunners, creators, etc. But Micah, no dilemma for your home when you insist on Cellino plumbing and HVAC. The infected in The Last of Us move fast, but the team at Cellino HVAC moves faster. When your home needs help, you need a team that moves just as quickly. When emergency plumbing repairs to HVAC tune-up, Cellino is always ready. Call today and experience, the top-level care. 716-68-FLUSH. So, Mike, obviously the dilemma is for them that in the game, and I think we've touched on this a couple times throughout the season, Joel dies pretty early. It becomes Ellie versus Abby as kind of the main storyline there. And that's a dilemma when Joel, in this case, is Pedro Pascal, who's one of the hottest actors in the world, on fire with everything he touches. I see some pundits say he's like annoying or whatever. Internet reviewers say like he's cocky or goofy or annoying or whatever. I think he's a top actor in the world right now for the Sphere for sure. But yeah, when you have to kill him off, it's kind of a dilemma. The penultimate bang that they got was bringing him back for this flashback episode.
Yeah, they did deliver. It wasn't like false advertising or anything. And this was, man, yeah, I don't understand. If you had those claims and you watched this episode, I don't know, man. He was cooking. It was incredible to watch, and just to see that dynamic, like honestly, taking the dynamic away the way they did, and then to bring it back, and not even just bring it back like a little bit, right? Like that was this episode to see him like and get like fill in the gaps. Like we didn't have any idea like of his background, of what was going on, like what had led up to obviously the death earlier on in the season. So we were just kind of left in the dark to pick up the pieces through everybody else. And this was like, nah, let's go take that's a bold move, first of all, Maniac, to do for your pen. That's why the way the fact that this is the penultimate episode is crazy to do a flashback.
It's crazy for sure. And Micah, this is kind of like, like The Last of Us season 1 was great, and I think people agree it was great. And the people who played the game said, "Well, you're going to be in trouble because you're not going to have as much Pedro Pascal in season 2," and they're right, clearly. Because you look at what made this show great in season 1 was a good rapport between Ellie and Joel, a good rapport between Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal at the end of the day. And you didn't get that in season 1 because they were already splintered in episode 1. Because they were already splintered. And then in episode 2, they didn't have any scenes together. So this is the first time all season that we're kind of getting like, the black and red jerseys of, The Last of Us, showing why they were good, showing why, this needed to be a show to be reckoned with. So it was good to have Pedro back on the screen for sure. Before we get into the specifics of the episode, any other thoughts before we dive in?
Nah, I love the man, and he had to get one more. We had to get one more piece of him before he's going to be all over the place. I'm sure the marketing in June is about to be crazy, and Pedro Pascal's face is going to be literally all over the country, probably all over the NBA Finals, things like that. I mean, I guess Superman's actually been all over the NBA Finals, which is an interesting thing. But he made it. Listen, if he was only going to work 3 episodes or whatever, 4 episodes in this season, he made it worth it. He got his numbers. He was efficient.
He did. He made it count. He put up his metrics for sure. So we got flashbacks and dinosaurs. We start off with the flashback Did you cue right away that these were the brothers? I was a little lost for a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I didn't put that together right away either. Honestly,
So they get the dad played by Tony Dalton. Now, are you a Better Call Saul guy, Micah?
no, I am not.
Okay,
Enlighten
you're
me.
Breaking Bad guy.
Yes,
Okay, you got to go watch. You got to go watch Better Call Saul for sure. That's your
I
five
have heard
seasons
that.
of homework. But
Homework.
Better Call Saul it matches the integrity of Breaking Bad. I won't say it's as good because I know people think that's heresy. I think it's as good. But Tony Dalton, I won't spoil any further. Plays a very great dynamic
Key
character.
role.
Tony Dalton, in this case, plays the dad in the flashback coming home to scold the son for a drug deal that he got into a fight over. But great protection from the brother, and that's kind of what we see the early days of Joel. That's the foundations of Joel right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to see like the upbringing he had to come with and everything, just like the kind of the violence that he's dealt with from everything in life. And obviously, like that was a normal world, right? That wasn't taken over by the infected and everything. So the violence has just had to be increased. Everybody had to bump it up to 11 in this world now. But he just was like, it's all he knew, and he didn't want to have to use it. It was like kind of like a Jedi like type thing, I guess. Like it was all when he was provoked, he had to do it, and then it kind of turned on him a little bit later on. But it was interesting to see like the official Joel origin, and it was like, damn, like this guy always had it. He's always had the right intentions, right? He's just fiercely loyal to the people he loves, which you can't blame anybody for that. Now, but he just was like,
Yeah, he kind of has that like complete blatant disregard for what's happening around him, logic, everything like that. Loyalty, 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 as Kendrick Lamar, I believe, said. So flashbacks and answers. So then we get the path of this episode, which is pretty well written, and I'll give them credit for the structure and the path that they take us on, because they have Ellie and having her birthday from what it was at 16 to 19 for 4 years. We got 4
I
birthdays, I
think so,
believe,
yeah.
but took us on that journey. Took us on the journey of them going to the dinosaur museum. And again, this was when you were seeing the vibes between Ellie and Joel. And Mike, I think it was just really sticking out, like the dinosaur scenes, the museum, the jokes, etc. This was the core of what made The Last of Us season 1 a pretty great watch.
Yeah, this dynamic, and I mean, this is like the acting between these two, like Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, and just the chemistry that they were able to build was that's the reason I was watching that show in the first season as much as anything else. Like it was truly a really awesome dynamic and a beautiful like relationship to see build. So I've been like, and I thought, when as the season's been playing out, I was worried. I was like, damn, like, am I gonna still want to be in this world with just these different dynamics? And credit to this story and everything else, yes, and credit to this episode. But yeah, that's why I think I have such a good feeling about it, is just because I love that dynamic so much, and just getting to revisit it here was just like just putting on like a nice warm blanket, like revisiting like just an old TV episode or anything. And they earned that in one season, which is pretty impressive. Oh, hold on, Muniac.
Not a
Mute
mute
monster.
monster. We
Mute
have,
monster.
speaking of monster, we have the dinosaur, we have the museum. Did anything stick out on this first birthday? We get the birds and the bees, and you mean dicks and vaginas? Pretty funny. Hello, Phil. But we got all that going on. But at the end of the day, obviously, that was kind of like I hate to say it, I know that was kind of thrown in her face there or whatever, but whatever. Like that was kind of like a big 4-part storyline of like the birthday. Basically, it was like Ellie's sexuality and everything. Did anything from the first or second flashback there stick out to you?
And the thing is, I guess, yeah, the biggest thing that stuck out, I don't know if Joel was ever okay with Ellie or not. Like, I guess he kind of was, just because it was Ellie, but like, I don't think he ever was like down with her, like not having a boyfriend. Honestly, that was my impression of it. And I think it was the show that was part of the rift between them, because it was like Ellie loved him, but he never understood her really, fully. He never understood where she was coming from. So that was my impression of that dynamic. Going to just the dinosaurs part in the museum and everything. Yo, Joel, how much scouting did he have to do to like could you imagine he would have had to canvass that whole place to check for infected, check for any rot of infected.
I was getting
Joel's a
nervous
thorough
too. They were
motherfucker.
making a lot of noise. They weren't nervous at all. I mean,
Yeah. He must have been there weeks and weeks, checking over every inch of everything before he would just bring them in there willy-nilly. So shout out Joel. That was awesome.
now obviously, as we've seen on the show, over this time, the infected, quote unquote, have evolved though. Like there have become different forms of them, and they react differently to like the ground, right? Like because now they develop the network and the branches to where they can kind of communicate with each other, right? The infected.
Yeah. They
Okay,
are developing, they're evolving,
yeah.
communicating more. Yeah, it's not getting good. It's getting
So
bad.
we got the flashback now. I think we got the next flashback, which is that we get to them hooking up in the bedroom and they get caught by Joel. I believe that's the third one.
Yes.
And you're right. This is great acting from Pedro Pascal. Listen, I don't care your opinion on this situation. He does a great job acting as a boomer who's completely bothered. He was totally offended by being so there's the moment where you get angry because someone's doing something, but at the same time you get angry because you didn't know it was happening and you're angry at not knowing, being confused.
You're mad at
And I think
yourself.
he
Yeah,
conveyed that perfectly.
absolutely.
Dude, yeah. So that was great. The reaction to that was great. Going that, and again, he had a good rest of the party or whatever, but slams the door upset. And again, I know. So and also how old is Pedro Pascal, by the way?
Actually, I think he's 51.
Okay, so he's 50 because in the show he's by the time Abby kills him or whatever, she says he's in his 60s, and I'm like, the show definitely wants you to think he's a little older too. I think
Yeah,
you've been seeing
they
that
they
by
they pepper
the
that hair up a little bit
yeah,
for
the pepper
sure
up
on
big
him.
time, and even in the snow episode 1 for sure, he was getting the pepper was crazy, and every way he's been acting has just been a little bit more less modern and a little bit more boomerish is all I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
With all due respect to boomers who are maybe watching, who were born in 1975 when Pedro Pascal was born. So we have that, and then we have the final patrol, which are our birthday, which the gift is 19, that she's finally old enough to go on patrol.
Mm-hmm.
But they go on patrol and they find her rustling, and we have an issue, Micah.
We do have a slight issue.
We got someone who's been bit.
He has been bit, and it's somebody they know. I can't remember what's the dude's name.
And I want to say Craig. I'm trying to look it up right now.
I know it's Gail. Gail is his wife.
Yeah, Eugene. Yeah, see, so
Eugene.
Gail got me with the AI, and Eugene got me.
Yep.
So they encountered. So what was going on? A rustling in the bushes, and he kind of just came out, right, or whatever. That was what I thought it was.
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was staggering around on the trees and stuff because he wasn't doing well.
Yeah.
And yeah, they find him. They find him bit, and this brings up just the biggest moral dilemma among them.
This is a great tie back. You got to give credit where it's due. This is a great tie back to what exactly happened here, and you had a general idea that the husband probably became infected, and Joel had to make a decision. But the dynamic between Ellie and Joel, so Ellie, wants to lead him back to the thing, and that's so kiddie thinking, though. I hate to say it. We saw in this world, Micah, that the apocalypse kind of hardened everybody, everyone became the hardened survive, and all I can say was her being we got plenty of time. He's not shaking. Now I get the shaking and I get all that stuff, but it just totally felt kitty ass thinking. He should have just shot him right in the head the second they saw him, for sure.
I 100% agree with you. That was my thought too. I was like, come on, you're on patrol. She's been begging, and leading up to this has been begging to be on this patrol for years. And then the first instance where you have to make a decision as a patrolman, you waffle. You waffled on it, Ellie. No wonder he didn't want you out here. So I felt really bad for Joel in that moment because that is the definition of rock in a hard place. Like what do you do in
If
this
you
moment?
were if you were Eugene, would you have played that out any differently? Like in the like, because I feel like just telling anybody in this universe that you're bit or whatever is like a death warrant. I would have just started running. Maybe he misses the shot.
Yeah, I mean, he really thought I think he thought he was getting somewhere with Ellie with the emotional appeal because he knew that Ellie had the ear of Joel. But he, I don't know, man. What's
Yeah.
that? What is it of, this was, what's, of Mice and Men? You ever seen that? You ever
Yeah.
read that? Never seen that play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was very Lenny-esque or
Yeah.
whatever, lead
That's
him
what it
out to
felt
the
like to me.
water.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Which,
you're seeing them walk through the woods and they're just still walking through the woods and you're like, "Oh, Joel, he's devious. That is a devious move." Like
yeah, no, but that's what made
devious
this
move.
Joel great, though, is that the
Yeah.
second you thought he was like cuddly, warm Pedro Pascal, he would just fucking like knife someone, or
Yep.
like, and that's what made the ultimate come up at the hospital last season like so great, because he was just on a rampage, like getting back to Ellie. It was awesome. So anyways, takes Eugene out. Now I'm a little fuzzy again. You just shoot him like he says the last words. He goes like, any last words for her or whatever. And I go, and he's like, it's really funny from Eugene though. He's like, I need her last words for me. Like, right? Like that's what he said, which is like totally true, like totally fair and
Absolutely.
valid. But
Poor
but
guy.
again, Joel has the right thinking. This is an apocalypse, dude. Like, sorry, like the reason we're in apocalypse is because stuff of that like that happening. And last words for you ain't worth endangering a whole like villa or whatever.
Absolutely.
So does it all, but then lies to Gail that Eugene chose to kill himself rather than endanger. So does a little white lie, does a little white
Mhm.
angle there, and then Ellie realized lie. This kind of becomes the unraveling of everything that we know this to be this season, Micah.
You have to question if Joel did this lie one time, how many times has Joel acted like this and lied upon it
Oh,
before
it's
other
very
times?
possible that this character of
Oh,
Joel, I mean, based on what we've seen, has killed like over like 50 people to 100 people for sure.
absolutely. So I feel
And
like
he's probably lied about 10 to 20 times.
Ellie in that moment, it was more like, yes, it was this specific moment of him
The
not
straw that
listening
broke the
to
camel's
her.
back.
Yes, yes. Where it was just like she was already kind of at like her moment with him, like, I'm just like kind of fed up, but I'm giving you chances. And then to do this on her birthday, nonetheless. Like they're and whether that means anything and it should mean anything in the apocalypse, probably not. But like you said, this is a character who we just said made a childish decision. So I imagine she's looking at it from a childish perspective. On my birthday, thinking selfishly, you would pull this bullshit again, Joel, and then you'd lie about it right in front of me. I see why she was hurt. Like they're both like I get why Joel did it. But once he did that, I get every reason why Ellie was like, bro, like come on. You can't just admit one thing. Like you can't come here and be honest about that. So I got it. It was a crazy move by Joel, honestly. Crazy move to be like
Yeah,
comforting
crazy move
her
by
and
Joel. And then
hugging
we
her.
agreed. And then we get, the final throwback scene, flashback scene or whatever. She confronts Joel about the actions.
Yep.
And we get Pascal with,
Okay, so you ready for this?
yeah.
So potential spoiler alert.
Okay.
Okay. This scene was apparently at the end of the second game. And people are like, how did they put this scene like this early? Like supposedly you don't see this scene until Ellie like goes on this like I don't know. Whatever journey she's about to go on. But it's
Okay, I
supposed to
got you.
be like
Well, yeah, the
towards the
showrunner,
end. So I
my,
don't know what that means. I guess you want the emotional you need it in this episode. Like it
have you
really
been,
like
have you been
hammers the
spoiled on
episode.
anything that happens?
No.
I have not been spoiled anything happens, and this is a tough one because it's like it's similar to House of the Dragon, where it's kind of like out there if you want to figure
Mhm.
out like what happens, but I don't want to figure out what happens. And also there's the sometimes they switch stuff here and there, you know what I mean, or whatever. But if I had to use my brain, like clearly Abby is the big bad or whatever. I don't think Abby is, who we haven't seen really since this happened, is gonna get like got in the next episode.
Okay. Well, did you see the news about season 3?
I did. What was the news?
Potential spoiler alert.
Okay.
Season 3 is supposed to be Abby's story.
Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah. So they're building
So
this
I don't
out.
think she's not dying the next episode.
Micah,
No,
this was like, this is the equivalent of like, oh, I can't wait for this SummerSlam like payoff. And they're like, I got bad news, pal. Mania. Like, you know, like, you're like, oh, jeez.
It's Roman
Like,
it's Solo Sikoa coming out and giving the thumb to Cody Rhodes.
With all due respect to the
Yeah, my
showrunners, and I say this with respect, they blew their load on this scene because they needed you to stay on to get to a season finale, because you're going to tune into the season finale to see where things leave off. You may not have gotten to the season finale if you had a weak episode here.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think they needed to, and it made sense because how they were doing the episode. Like it wouldn't have made sense not to include the conclusion of that day. So I get it, but I wonder how, if the game they like parse that whole episode out like through the whole, like the only thing I know is that was at the end of the game. I have no idea anything else of how it was produced throughout the game. So interesting stuff. Doesn't really change anything for me how I feel about what this show is going to be. The season 3 thing being Abby makes a lot of sense because we don't know enough about her and there's only one episode left and she's too important to the story, clearly.
I mean, at a certain time, you do got to breathe in the numbers. Literally, season 1, it did start during the NFL playoffs, but the game was at 9, the episodes were at 9, and I think that was when the divisional games are on Sunday and when the conference championship was next week. There was 600,000 viewers for episode 1 and 2 of season 1. Then they got up to 750K. Then they got up to 990. Then by the end of the season, they were on 1 million viewers every episode for the last 3. If you look at season 2, again, like I'm not reinventing the wheel with these takes. 930K viewers, 640 by the Joel Kill-Off episode, and now they haven't been back above 800K. They've been around 700. So, they needed the episode. They needed a banger. So, this didn't quite do it for me. It got them in the right direction. It got them a 60K bump from last week, after they were down 120K from the week before. But yeah, Last of Us, I mean, I don't know. It could be running out of gas. Like, I hate to say, like, I don't want, like the season finale.
And that's
like,
why I feel like
what are we looking forward to in the season finale? Like, we're definitely, this reminds me, Micah, of in Game of Thrones when they did, are Sansa and Arya gonna like go head to head at the end of the season, or like at some point, like, and like, take each other out? And it was like a swerve that they didn't do that and they went after Littlefinger, like when it was the most obvious thing ever. And I feel like right now they're trying to convince you that she's walking into Abby right now, when that confrontation is literally not like till like a season and a half or 2 seasons away almost.
So we also have the other factors going on at the moment. I guess Ellie, Tommy, Dina, all in the theater, or not? Well, movie. I don't know where Ellie is. I guess what is Ellie like? Like, we don't know what happened with Ellie. We know that the last time we left her off, she's in the weird elevator, like the weird. She went down the elevator shaft and she's on the floor, like the infected floor, right? And then we get her like knocked out, and then we get her seeing Joel, and then we get this whole episode. Yeah. So I'm assuming the episode starts hot. I do think they find Abby. I think they have a face-off. I think what happens in this episode is a horde of infected, probably.
Yeah, we didn't get like barely any. We didn't get barely any in this episode.
You want to keep talking? This show is very Game of Thrones-esque. That's why Last of Us likes. I think that's why HBO loves this thing, because I think they're just gonna throw like a White Walker episode, basically, where it's just like, oh no, we have to work. Fuck trying to kill each other if we want to live at all. Like, we have to survive this horde because we're gonna just get destroyed or something. Or it's just like a big boy, or like Godzilla infected.
Yeah, we might get a couple of those big boys or something. Yeah. I mean, we did get the big battle in 2. I mean, there's no way They must have been so devastated when they lost like a third of their audience on episode 2 for sure with that big battle and Joel off. They've survived because they boosted back up a little bit, but we'll see what's going on. Obviously, with that said, season finale incoming. We do got to talk some Andor. Where are you at that right now? I know you were wrapping it up.
So personally, hold on. Personally, for you though, do you think that
Oh yeah, sorry.
do you think that they're landing it? Do you think they've landed this second season strong? Like, do you think that it's good
I
enough to
think
go
based
into
on
season
if you
3?
like they told themselves, quote unquote, that they had to stay true to the source material, I'm sure. And I think based on that, they've landed it as good as they could. But it's just like you killed off Pedro Pascal. Like, good luck to your show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's
It's
all.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough look. It's a tough look
Yeah.
to sell when he's your
Very tough
star.
one.
But
Very tough.
Andor I'm way behind on still.
Okay.
I'm like a couple episodes in, but I've heard all I've seen now is that the last 5 episodes of the show are like the highest rated ever from any Disney Star Wars property. So I'm like, fuck. So I'll
There's
get there. I'll
one
get there.
there's one in there, Micah. Oh man, it's just hard to even like put into words. It wasn't all the way, but 75% of the way my heart was in my throat for like 20 minutes of one
Ooh.
episode.
Well, that
Like, and
is
all I'm saying is I never felt that way in any theater for any sequel trilogy or any other like you'll probably sense Rogue One when I'm like hoping
not
like,
even
oh,
One
is
Way
like
Out.
Andor and what's her name gonna make it like off the planet? You know, are they gonna make it off Scarif?
What about One Way Out? Not
Oh yeah,
compared
One
to
Way
that
Out.
one.
Yeah, for sure. So again, same thing.
Okay.
Same thing. I'm sorry. All due
All
respect
right.
to One Way Out.
Let's talk about one thing quick though.
Yeah.
A quick rumor, a quick WWE show break into what's train wreck watching while I have you here.
Yeah.
WrestleMania getting moved to Las Vegas
Yeah, so this is happening live in real time, right?
in real time. Yeah,
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 yeah.
like it's
So
breaking
they're
out
kind
as
of
the day is going.
so are they like because this was quote unquote announced, right? Like, you know, but they didn't do a big like press conference or anything.
Well, they did have The Rock come out on Raw and say WrestleMania is coming to New Orleans next year. So I mean, that's as big as it can get of an announcement. I feel like
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough for
it's
Dame.
tough. So, but here's the thing: like, what is the impetus for this? There's got to be something else beyond just like TKO taking a big bag here, right? Like, do they just want to be posted? I don't know. This is
Does
just
there, dude?
no. I guess really not. Like, I guess if Vegas, like, if the mob money just threw a bunch of
Like, dude,
like
sometimes I
billion
mean,
or
like
something.
we don't know that Triple H isn't in a back office motherfucking this move to like the sky right now.
I
You know what
agree.
I
I'm
mean?
sure he's probably pissed about it because it's not great
Yeah, like so
PR.
I think that sometimes whenever you're like, oh well, WWE's taking a bag. Well, right now TKO's taking a bag, and they're making that bag through WWE. And TKO really just doesn't give a shit if it's in New Orleans or Vegas. Like, and
They
Vegas
don't.
is a better city for TKO. So like to them, they don't give a fuck. Like I mean, it's not even like a
It's
hot
true.
take. You know what I mean?
You're
Like
right.
they are so bottom line. And at the end of the day, you got WWE who's doing like, you know, like they're making money hand over fist, but they're still doing like, you know, Pizza Hut matches and like crazy promotions and shit. Like they will always take a buck. So it doesn't surprise me. I feel kind of bad for the New Orleans people, but it's very surprising after this year was kind of touted as a disappointment. But I guess they were also saying that it was like the highest box office,
Highest
like
box office.
right, like so
But
stupid.
maybe that's why they're going back because it's a disappointment too. That's what I'm wondering. If the WWE incentive from like a Nick Khan, Ari Emanuel, Dwayne Johnson perspective is, well, first of all, Dwayne wants to do a show in Vegas and he might be able to do it next year. So let's try to do it. Does
All
that is
right,
he
so
actually
let's
gonna
run it
do
real
it?
quick. Let's run it
Is he
real
actually
quick.
gonna do it? Okay, yeah, let's go.
You got Rock versus Reigns, Punk versus Rollins,
Yeah. Though yeah. Cena versus Cody, round 2.
Cena versus Cody round 2.
Yeah. I mean, that's like you
Is
got
John Cena going to come out and win the Royal Rumble?
I don't think he's gonna lose the title. I think he's gonna like pull one of the fake retirement bullshit on his last
I think this is just
episode
not,
ever or
this
whatever.
he cannot be happy with this right now. I'm sorry. Like, there is not anybody saying this is good right now, Micah.
Do you think it's who's at fault? I feel like he's at fault. I
Yeah,
feel
he's
like
at fault for
he's
sure.
the cook in the kitchen here.
He's
He might have lost his
15,
touch.
he's had 15 years. Dean Ambrose and John Moxley's had 15 years to daydream about how he would run a full-time company with him as the top heel with a full faction. John Cena's had 15 years to daydream about what he would be doing as heel, and both are absolutely falling flat. They're both talented beyond belief. Everybody knows this, but there's no denying that those are both falling flat as hell right now, right?
I completely agree. I completely agree.
It's
Yeah, I don't.
sometimes, like, it's like, Micah, you see it sometimes in sports, like, where it just doesn't make any sense. Like, a player comes back to the lineup who's good, or maybe is even like a superstar, and the team starts playing worse. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, oh, well, it was better because you had McIntyre like going out of his ass, and you had bloodline segments, and you had all this stuff. And now you kind of don't have like that support anymore, even though the show is much better overall than it was like 2015 to 2022 or whatever. But yeah, there's we talked in the chat this week. There's some holes there. It makes no sense the breakers with Rollins. It makes no sense that Cena turned heel
with
for
Cena,
Rock.
for me, it's my issue. My biggest issue with the Cena thing is they're inherently making it kind of a nostalgia-y act where he's like going after all the fans, like he's flipping the nostalgia on its head and doing the opposite. But it was a bad era of WWE that there's no nostalgia. I don't have nostalgia for when John Cena was champion. I love John Cena, but I don't have nostalgia for like when I was booing him or anything like that. So like he's trying to like harken back to these times where like you're like, you did this to me, and I'm like, it wasn't about you, bro. Like it was about everything around you, and you were just the guy that had to go eat shit and be the face of it all. Like that's what it like. So it's hard for me in that regard,
Heel John Cena. If I can go back in time and I could control it, this is what I would have done. First off, I would have had him crush R-Truth the night after WrestleMania. That would have been, he would have said, I am doing an open challenge to anyone who's been on the roster like longer than like 20 years or something. And like, let's just say Rey Mysterio doesn't come out, like it's R-Truth or whatever. So he comes out, crushes him. Then he just keeps doing that and challenging like chicken shit. But like he should have just gone on a tirade about how like nobody appreciates greatness. Like, who's the most hated player in the NBA? LeBron James. Like, Caitlin Clark is setting records. And like, yeah, like he could have just easily gone into whole tirades where he likened himself to like superstars that get hate. Instead, he kind of was just like, you're not appreciative, and like generic like heel talk like 101, which was like so crazy. Like you would have thought he would have had books. Like Enzo Amore talked about how he writes like notebooks full of promos. Like I would have swore Cena would have like a notes app like worth of like 2 years of heel shit. But instead he hasn't done. Micah, real talk, but we'll wrap this up. Has he done one thing as a heel that was cool?
I'm not moved by John Cena right now, and I want to be.
The towel
I want to
is
like
the only
this.
funny thing. The towel is the only
the
funny
towel
thing.
and the belt because he's carrying the company on his back. Funny touch.
That's a funny one. But like
when he throws that towel, when he finally throws that towel, it will be a fucking moment. It will be awesome. Like I will give him that. Like the thing is, I guess he's doing it good. Like we're pissed about this, and he's doing it good because once he brings everything back, he's gonna be the biggest fucking baby face in the world. Like everybody's gonna be like, yeah, John's back. And if that's what it is, like, then good job, man. Then you are good you are better at this than me and Maniac just sitting here yapping about it. And that's probably more likely than anything else, but we'll see.
Seriously, good job. And okay, so quick wrap up. We are going to touch on Andor some point in the next week. It only ended last week, and it was 12 episodes, so we'll still digest in time. Last of Us season finale this week, and then obviously WWE there. So appreciate everyone tuning in on this show, sponsored by Cellino Plumbing and HVAC. Shout out my guy, our friend, your friend, my friend, Jake, Micah, myself. This is the show where it's not about last week's blog. It's not about next week's show. It's about this week's episode.